you guys some tips on visual appeal and hopefully make your newsletter earn the bonus point at the bottom of the rubric. So as you can see from the newsletter that I use on basic newsletter content, I added the month right here in a calligraphy font, and I think that's a really cute way to spice up the cover. One of my biggest tips for making a visually appealing newsletter is to look at them and find a source of inspiration. So if you go to issue, you can find a lot of nice newsletters. This is C&H's newsletter for July, and I really like the way that the colors match as well as the organizational format. You can also look at the newsletter that I made this past or last months, the text of key. Please excuse my shameless self-promo, but wait for this to load. I like the cover of the newsletter, which I didn't come up with by myself. I used a Canva format, and the way that the headers match across the pages, as well as a 2-page spread. So let's do a 2-page spread. This is just the cover page, and I got rid of the other pages of the newsletter so that we can work on making a 2-page spread. So one of the things that I like to span over 2 pages is pictures. So I'm gonna search up grid so I can get a grid of pictures, and let's just say that I want to use this grid. And I don't want it that size, I want it a little bit smaller and wider because it's gonna go over 2 pages, right? So the first thing I want to do is to make half of it go on this page. Do you see how that pink line is showing up? That means that half of your element is on the page. So I'm gonna put this right here and make it a little bit smaller so that I have more space for the header. But I need to find that midpoint. And then copy it, or copy the entire element, paste it on this page, and then paste it again so you know that it aligns, and you want it to align with the one that you previously pasted as well as half of the page. And then I'm going to delete this side, and there you go. Half of it is on the first page and half of it is on the second page. So now let's add some text. Let's just say that this is, or I'm just gonna put the word pictures. Make the font a little bit bigger. Okay. We're gonna do the exact same thing. So make sure it's half, copy it, paste it on this page, paste it again, and slide it where it's aligned with the picked part and still half. And I'm going to delete this. And to check to see if it's aligned, go on the page manager and you can see it span across. So that looks good. That's how you do a 2-page spread. I also like when, as I explained in the previous video on basic newsletter content, I like to utilize the formats that Canva already has. So, and you don't necessarily have to use it for a cover either. So let's just add a new page. Let's scroll through these different covers. Okay. I like how half of the page is a picture and half of it is text. So let's say that I want to use this as a table of contents, even though this is technically a magazine cover, but I can transform it into a table of contents simply by changing the text of the page. So I'm going to zoom in to make it a little easier to read and delete this text because I don't need it. Let's change this to table of contents. And make the font a little bit smaller so we can fit it nicely in. Or stretch this out. Here we go. And I'm just going to change this picture really fast because you see how there's a Canva logo on it that means that it's a premium feature, which I don't have. So I'm just going to change it so that I'm able to download it to this. Let's find a picture. I'm going to change it to a picture of myself because I don't know if I have permission for other people. Actually, no, let's change it to this. Okay. It's really blown up, but you know, it's fine. We can also change the background. So to spice it up, everything has been white so far. Let's change the background to navy. And I think white text would look best. And let's make all of this text white as well. Alright, so in our previous newsletter content video, I'm gonna delete these two things because we don't need it. In the previous newsletter content video, we had 3 pages, so I'm just gonna use the exact same 3 pages and put them here. So page 1, we had promotions. Page 2, we had upcoming events. Page 3, we had contacts. And you would usually fill this up a lot more than I have right now, but I don't have as much information in my newsletter since this is the basics. But let's just say I wanted to add articles. So I'm just gonna copy these 2 elements and paste them. Paste and drag them right here. Everything else. Let's have page 4 as articles. Because I know a lot of people like to include articles in their newsletters. It's not necessary, but I think it's a great way to feature the articles that your officers, or if you wrote them, then the articles that you have written. And we're still missing a few colors, so maybe let's change. Let's duplicate this text with copy and paste and change it to a different color and see how that goes. So we made it yellow and put it right there so it looks like a little shadow. You can use your arrow keys to move it along, so I'm going to move it a little bit with my left arrow. That way there's some yellow in the page. And if I chose a picture for this side, I would probably make the colors or find a picture that has colors that coordinate with this theme a little bit better because this one doesn't really match at all. I'm just gonna make this a little bit smaller so it fits better. Actually, no, let's make it, yeah. do the exact same thing where I copy and pasted it. A little shadow effect. Alright, so go to the page manager and see what you have so far. This page looks really plain, so what I'm going to do is add some elements. Search up some shapes and see what we can do with those. I really like adding rectangles behind words, so maybe we can try that. Let me. Oh, okay. Let's zoom out a little bit because it's super big right now. And make a rectangle that covers these letters. So I'm just going to put it right here and stretch it out to cover the entirety of it. And let's position it backwards so the letters pop up. And let's make this yellow. How's that sound? I'm just going to copy and paste this whole thing because I shifted it. This, paste, and then copy just the letters. And I actually want some red, no, white. I really like white text on top of colored backgrounds. I think it looks really nice and it makes it pop. And since we have that up there, maybe we could, let's have a triangle at the bottom of the page. Position it all the way to the back. And let's make this one blue. And let's have a triangle here and make it red. I wonder if I can flip it. So let's show. Okay. Now let's look at our page manager and see if it looks any better. Well, I mean, it definitely looks less plain, and I still really don't like this picture with this. But this aesthetic going on, the 3-color scheme, is already a lot better than the aesthetic we had in our basic newsletter content. So, yeah. Okay, let me go over some little tips on making text more interesting. So let's just write. I'm going to zoom in so it's easier to see. Okay. Your text can be in italics, in all caps, and you can choose alignment, but it doesn't really matter. Oh. Alignment in the box. I really like changing up the spacing, so letter is making it farther apart, closer together. And I think making it further apart looks really cool in some cases. And line height is when you have multiple lines. So let's just and change the line height. So get really far away and closer together. And typically I use to make it closer together. Okay, this locked is to make the text or whatever element you're using stay put. So no matter what you do, it's not going to move. Unlock it. And this is a link. So if you want to apply a link, so for example, to club.com and apply it, when you publish a newsletter or make it to a PDF and you click on this text type, it'll take you to the link. This is transparency, which I really like to use when I'm using a brand card color and the color is too bright and I want to dim it down. Let's try that on a white. See, sometimes this color looks really cool, so I like to dim some text types. Or what am I saying? I like to dim the text for some extra flair, if you know what I mean. And yeah, that's basically all the tips that I have for creating a more visually appealing newsletter. Please make sure you take advantage of all the elements that Canva has to offer, such as shapes and different pictures, but obviously, please try to use your own pictures, especially active pictures. But also know that I can't take pictures from your newsletter. So the only pictures that I am taking are from your articles and your photo submissions. Yeah, that's basically it. Thanks for tuning in.